talked about, the background of science and philosophy and IO and the history of IO, and now I guess it's where is it going forward? Okay, what's the next step? So some of the biggest issues that are happening is things such as globalization, global competition, um, supply chain issues as different nations, different geopolitical conflicts are occurring, supply chain problems. So it's a different world now with the globalization that has occurred. That the competition is not just local anymore, but international. Downsizing, absolutely. Technology is driving a push out of the workforce or fundamental shifts in the workforce. But companies are trying to get sleeker and sleeker. And by not just downsizing, but having more of a flat organizational structure, that is fewer mid level managers, which means more and more and more of the work that was done by these mid level managers is being dropped onto and dropped above. So everybody's being asked to pick up, some more tasks and more responsibilities. Major trend moving forward is, of course, increased workplace diversity. The workplace, clearly, we're going to talk a little bit about that here, but the workplace is becoming more and more diverse, and there are many, many differences as a result. So, as just a few simple examples, Asian workers have a different understanding of time than American workers do. Absolutely true. I mean, my wife refers to Korean time, and Korean time is approximately 1 hour after American time. So, it is what it is. In considering about bonuses or something, a Chinese manager is likely to make decisions based on personal needs of the individual. All right, rather than in the United States, these kinds of decisions are all based on performance. I don't care if you're poor, if you're a bad worker, I'm not going to pay you. Okay. Japanese managers are more likely to seek compromise in a solution rather than view things as win lose. Okay. Here, this is actually pretty interesting. In the Philippines, you can use shame, all right, to motivate a salesperson. You want to do better moving into the future. Let's add some shame for your poor behavior in the past. Brutal. American software engineers will provide assistance to a colleague, but only if they think that they're going to need something from that colleague into the future. Whereas Indian software engineers are going to help no matter what, whether they have an expectation of for the future needs or not. Okay, and so there are many ways that workers can differ. Things such as power distance. That is to say, boss, worker. Are they kind of like this and they're kind of friends, or is it boss slightly above worker, or is boss and worker clearly separated? Okay, so clearly this would what is comfortable in one culture is not comfortable in another culture. Okay, masculinity, femininity. That is what distinction is there between male roles and female roles. Long-term versus short-term orientation. Some cultures are much more short-term oriented than others, and so you find individualism, collectivism. That is, how much does a culture focus on the needs of the individual versus the needs of the group? Okay, and uncertainty avoidance. Some cultures just do not want any kind of uncertainty at all. They want it laid out: step one, step two, step three, step four. Okay, so clearly what's going to happen is, in particular, like if you've got a multinational corporation, you're going to have different workers having different power distance issues, right? I mean, if the boss believes that the power distance should be quite high, but the workers believe that they're supposed to be much more equal to each other, there's going to be some real conflicts in the workplace. Okay? So what you find is that people that have these basic ways, these like this high power distance. If there's a high power distance, then the boss makes decisions. Period. Nobody else is involved in the decision, right? If there's high uncertainty avoidance, then you accept technical solutions, all right? Or if there's high individualism, then the employees make decisions that are based on their own needs, not the company's, not their coworkers, them. And so clearly, as you can see in these tables here, that if a culture is high or low on one of these different outcomes, it clearly has different implications in the workforce. So the SIOP, again, the Society for Industrial Organization Psychology, puts out workplace trends pretty regularly. And here is a recent example of the workplace trends that SIOP has created. Number 10, right? Number 10, how exciting. Enabling organizational culture in a changing workplace environment. And so this is clearly the impact of COVID and the remote work and what remote work has done to the corporate culture. Okay? Employees' role in mental health. Again, coming out of COVID, you're finding a lot more mental health concerns than in the past. Clearly, mental health was not something that corporations tended to care about in their workers or emphasize in any way, shape, or form, but it's getting to the point where they have to. Creating equity, diversity, inclusion, all of these things to make sure that diversity works for the benefit of the company rather than detriment. Okay? Stress and burnout. Okay? The Great Resignation, again, another post-COVID thing. Caring for employee well-being. Because remember, a happy worker is a more effective worker. So what can we do to make our workers happy? Talent, attraction, and retention. Yeah, in a world where there's highly skilled people, there are many that are highly desired. How do you get them and how do you keep them? Okay, too many people have in more recent years had a mindset that the jobs that they take are temporary affairs and should only last 1 or 2 years, and then use that position as a leverage to jump off to a higher paid position. So how do you retain them? Okay, managing the transition into post-pandemic work. Again, how do we juggle remote work versus in-person work? Ensuring inclusive environments, and again, that's highly related to the diversity questions. Employee engagement and organizational commitment of remote workers. So if a worker is remote, then they can't participate in things like corporate retreats or other efforts to build teams. How does teamwork work if you've never physically met this person? Can you effectively work together in this kind of an environment? Okay. All right. So that is the end of Module 1. And be sure to look at the full PowerPoint that is posted in Canvas.